Hello you, and welcome to part 3 of how hosts can optimize their highlights on Instagram. Part 1 we discussed the types of highlights that you might want to include on your Instagram profile. Part 2 I showed you how you can design a sequence of stories in order to populate those preconceived highlights. This is part 3 and I'm going to show you how you can get those stories into Instagram, push them into a highlight and then put a nice branded cover on the front side of it. Let's get to it. I'm going to go into my Instagram now, and there we have it. In order to create an Instagram story, you go to the plus button at the top, you tap story, and lo and behold, in my telephone, I've got all of the slides that we made in Canva in part 2 ready and waiting. The first one is going to be the FAQs with a summary of the 4 subjects that we're then going to discuss as people flick through the stories within the highlight, and there you'll see a very simple cover that I designed in Canva. You can use any graphics design software that you choose to make everything look branded. So I've used the matching orange with the white. So I'm going to put FAQs. I'm going to click the arrow in the bottom right and that will send it to my story. Click share and it's in. You will then get an option that says add to highlights. If you've not pre-created your highlight category where all these stories are going to get stored, you tap the down arrow on the right hand side and you would tap new. Right here you can see there's a cursor flashing in this word highlights. I'm going to write FAQs and I'm going to add it. Tap done. This is loading up now, and now I'm going to tap the plus button again. I'm going to click story. I'm going to repeat the process. So we've got Wi-Fi, parking, breakfast and check-in. Wi-Fi, parking, breakfast and check-in. So pick the Wi-Fi one, load that up, click share, add to highlights, and now I'm going to pick FAQs and tap done. And then repeat the process for each of the stories in the sequence with which I've decided they will go. I should point out I'm using a private account here. So if you go to the socialmediahotelier.com or you go to my guesthouse account, which is at Sandfield Guesthouse, you will not see these unless you go to my private account. We've done parking, we're going to do breakfast, add to the highlight I want, FAQs, done. Final one, check-in, share, pick the relevant highlight, click done. Yep, that's all of them. I'm then going to go to my profile page. I've got highlights where you can see I've been practicing, and the FAQs. I'm going to tap and hold the highlights one because I no longer want it. I'm just going to delete that highlight. I'm then going to go to FAQs. I'm going to tap and hold that again. I'm going to go edit highlight. So we can see FAQs, you can edit that as much as you want. If you've not already named it. I'm going to edit the cover. I can pick from the stories that are in the highlights, or I can click this icon here which will take me through to my gallery. Lo and behold, it's picked the first one. That looks nice. Tap go, tap done, tap done again. And I now have a highlight that is branded in orange with a question mark that says FAQs, and when people tap into it, FAQs, Wi-Fi, parking, breakfast and check-in. There's the Wi-Fi one, there's the parking one, there's the breakfast one, there's the check-in one. You can see now that we have an FAQs highlight with those slides running through it. What you can then do is do exactly the same thing for local attractions, local places to eat, reviews, that type of thing. I wouldn't recommend having more than 4 or 5 unless you have multiple properties across multiple locations, speaking to multiple guest avatars. Try and keep it short, sweet, and simple. Remember, what you're doing is you're making decision-making information readily accessible to your next potential guest. My name is Paul, the social media hotelier, and I help hosts and accommodation businesses market themselves organically on Instagram. So hit that follow button and let's get learning together. Peace.